Welcome back, everybody out there in YouTube Fragrance Land. Thanks for joining me again here on my channel, Stephen Sturgill, as I like to talk about some great fragrances, some not so great fragrances, some sucky fragrances, and just some indifferent smells that you just shouldn't even bother with, quite honestly. So, what are we talking about today? Throwbacks a la Rewind 1994, 1994. We are talking about one of the greatest, most groundbreaking scents ever in the history of fragrances, perfumes, parfum, colognes, eau de toilette, all that jazz in a bottle. What are we talking about today? We are talking about Dolce and Gabbana, the original Pour Homme. Now, I had the real bottle, long since used every last frickin' drop in that bottle. And I have a huge, well, not huge, I have a very large supply of these samplers. I forgot that I had them, so there's a picture of the real bottle. That's just like the one I used to have. Oop, wrong side. I can never do this on camera. Yeah, right there. Now, the smell, guys. This is a true signature scent. This is all-time classic. This is one of the greatest perfumes on earth in the history of perfumes, in my humble opinion. Especially just in terms of when we're talking about designer houses. You know, they're not niche. They're never going to go as far out on a limb as the niche houses. They can't afford to, quite frankly, whereas niche can get away with a lot of stuff that a designer house could never, ever even think about getting away with. Because it is about sales at the end of the day. It is a business. Marketing these guys on a mass level and then trying to make it have mass market appeal and not offend too many people in the process, or the process, however you want to say it, is a tricky business. Now, I normally don't do this, but I was tooling around bass notes, and I found this guy named, well, that's not his real name, obviously, it's his pen name, Zealot Crusader. He's got a little icon of like a demon dragon, red dragon face with like a black type lion mane, spikes or hair, something like that. It looks kind of Japanese style. But at any rate, I normally don't read other people's full reviews, but this guy is a phenomenal writer, A, and B, I could not agree more with the majority of what he says. He just says it so damn well. So here goes. He starts off, before there was Dolce & Gabbana's barnstormer known as Light Blue Pour Homme, '07, kicking up the second major wave of blue aquatics for men, there was this little gem all the way back in 1994 winning awards. D&G Pour Homme was naturally of the fresh fougere variety, which was sweeping clean all the powerhouses and aromatic affairs of decades past. But unlike most of its rather sterile brethren, it had a pretty masculine backbone under all of the freshness which didn't rear its deceptively traditional head until the dry down. The first male fragrance from the brainchild house of designers Domenico Dolce and Stefano Gabbana, Gabbana, was right on time to ride the wave started with Calvin Klein's blockbuster Eternity for Men, 1989. But the two Italian designers from Legnano were smart about not being swept up in copycats, working very closely with perfumers of both male and female debut scents of the house, leading to multiple awards won and the reputation which now precedes this stuff. Get it right on the first try and people will overlook future mistakes, is what I've often heard, and that explains why many see to this as reference 90s from the house, but only a few, besides hardcore fragrance collectors, remember the other two 90s masculines D&G made between this and Light Blue, which were By Man and D&G Masculine from 97 and 99 respectively. D&G Pour Homme really is the high watermark for the 90s fougere craze, and it's no hyperbole to say that the designer world could have just ended the genre there and went in a new direction afterward, leaving this kind of thing for the drugstore perfumers to murder with clones a lot faster. I'm not calling this stuff Godhead by any means, as the 90s Fresh Fougere is far from my favorite style to begin with, but in terms of sheer originality and quality, this takes the cake for its time. For starters, all the ingredients here are of natural and believable description, even if some of them may be represented in the actual fluid only chemically. Bergamot, mandarin, neroli, lemon, all of those seem pretty standard stuff, and as can be light as expected in a scent of this period. Indeed, this does have a standard opening, which remains breezy and just what the doctor ordered in the clean slate 90s style. It would almost be boring henceafter if those gingerly applied notes didn't quickly step off stage to be replaced with lavender, which is uncommonly found as a heart note here and thus sneaks up on the skin instead of signaling its charge like it does in Eternity for Men. Then, the sage, tarragon, cardamom, and a touch of what I perceive as a standard table pepper give it the subtle kick in the pants it needs to stay above the din of its genre, before taking another unexpected turn into an uncommonly rustic bass, which gives D&G Pour Homme its charm. Sandalwood and cedar get to play here again in a dry, stately manner, similar to Dunhill Edition 84, while musk, tobacco, and the interesting floral choice of iris give it a manly finish with an odd dandy touch most younger guys in the 90s had no point of reference for and probably missed. Versace would borrow this tobacco iris core and build a fragrance around it called the Dreamer, which I reviewed, guys, previously, in 96, so you know it's something special. Very sneaky of old D&G to toss that iris in there for slow burn at the end of the wear. Need I mention this has a legitimate coumarin note, which its stylistic predecessor, Eternity for Men, lacks? That technically makes this closer to a true Fresh Fougere than the aforementioned. Bravo indeed. Bear with me, we're almost done, guys. The tobacco in the base is the only bit of contention that some may have of the scent, just like the aforementioned Versace scent, as there's quite a bit of adverse reaction to tobacco in most modern noses I've met, which is maybe why a lot was done to hide it with the iris, woods, and musk. It's needed here for weight more than actual leafy presence, likely taking the place of what could have otherwise been a more common vetiver note, giving it a special something the competition just did not possess. People who don't like this era of 90s Fougere are likely not to like this much either, but it'll take it long before Curve for Men 96 or Versace Blue Jeans 94 ever crosses my skin. It's quick enough on its feet to do combat in both office and casual arenas, but unless you're dating in the heat of Midsummer Day, I wouldn't consider this romantic outside of maybe the sharp woodsy bass. D&G Pour Homme's the perfect balance of 90s zest and the classic dry tart the man scent aura, which is probably a huge boon to older guys crossing over from heavier styles. Men wanting to wade into new fragrances without leaving the comfort zone too much probably lap this up. It straddled the old and the new, but clearly has a larger stake in the newer way of thinking than the old, which is okay considering how young the D&G house was overall at the time. Silage nor longevity is not huge, but even with slightly richer bass notes, one would be a fool to expect high performance from a deliberately light 90s Fougere. Dolce & Gabbana's Pour Homme is nearly a case of nothing's new under the sun, but it also has the most personality of anything in its class. A generalist for people who don't like generalizing. Guys, pardon me all over the place for reading this entire freaking review, but this writer, whoever this is freaking awesomeness. Awesome. You are awesome, Zealot Crusader. Wish I knew their real name. I'd love to hire them or something. But at any rate, having said all that, you clearly got the gist of where he is coming from, he or she is coming from. I agree with almost everything he said. It's so spot on. So let's move now into the notes, and I will see if I can find the nose behind this guy. Okay, the nose is Max Gavery. And for a quick jaunt down memory lane, let's take a look at what Mr. Max has done design-wise. Okay, I'm grab a sip of coffee here. This is a new Korean coffee I've never tried before. It's very, very good. Oh my god, that's so smooth. Okay, anyways, this guy doesn't have a lot of scents like a lot of the other guys I've mentioned and gone over on my channel, but he does have several. He did D&G Feminine back in 99, D&G Masculine, also 99. He did the Prada, the women's with a little poofer, the old style French puff, like purple mauve colored poofer with the slightly peach colored juice. That was Prada back in '04. That's all it was called, was Prada, but it was a female's fragrance, a woman's scent. He did Paloma Picasso's Tentations or Tentaciones in 1996. He did Suggestion Eau d'Argent, Montana '94. That was a really, really very attractive bottle presentation. L'Insolent from Charles Jourdan in '86. He did Halston Z14. What is now maybe the most infamously popular drugstore frag on earth, which actually is not too bad. It's actually, for what it is, it's quite decent. You know, I'm not going to recommend that you go and buy it, but if you do, there's a lot of worse things that you could smell like than Halston Z14. He did Brummel by Antonio Puig in 1975. That's going way, way, way back, even before the Halston Z14, which was 1976. And last but not least, he also did Air de Cabochard from Grèce, 2000, and Eau de Dior Colorescence Énergisante from Christian Dior, right at the turn of the century in 2000. So he's got some pedigree, but not one of the more uber famous noses. Okay, so what do we get? And of course, this is a sampler, but it is glass. I believe it's glass. Well, or is that plastic? I take it back. I think it's plastic. But God, does that feel like glass? That's really, really hard stuff, whatever this is. Wow, that's impressive. At any rate, I don't know. Maybe it is glass. I think it's plastic. But so we get bergamot, mandarin, orange, neroli, lemon in the top notes. Then the heart notes, we get lavender, sage, tarragon, cardamom, and pepper. And finally in the base, we get sandalwood, cedarwood, tonka bean, musk, tobacco, iris, and coumarin. And this is a male scent, but I honestly think it could quite easily be worn by a modern day confident woman, because yes, it's going to vape off and smell very, very different on a woman's pH skin. I didn't say that right, but you know what I'm saying. On a woman's skin, the pH is different, thus the fragrance will smell differently. So this could kind of be a unisex fragrance, but it's definitely designed to be a masculine scent. Okay, this is going to be my scent of the evening. Bam, 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 bam. I don't care about overspraying. This is a light fougere. I'm going to need lots of coverage. Now, what's funny about this, guys, is that right away I get an opening of floral. And I'm assuming that's mainly the lavender, which is so powerful that even though it's a heart note, it comes out almost immediately with the bergamot and the neroli especially. The lemon is there, but it's kind of dialed down. It's not like in your face like some of the newer citrus fragrances, or even some going back 10 years. It's not that punch in the face citrus, but it's there. Get a few more blasts in. Let's see. Oop, wrong way. Okay, get a little more coverage. Yeah, I gotta admit, guys, this is not going to give you 6 to 8 hours of projection. It's just not. It's a light classic fougere, so you're going to probably need to respray at the 3 to 4 hour mark if you want what I call active projection. If you simply don't mind it dying down to somewhere between a skin scent and like coming off your skin, maybe about between half an inch and an inch to an inch and a half, depending on how heavy you spray, obviously. But either way, this is not a beast mode fragrance. What I like about it, though, is that it has a timeless, truly classic vibe. It just smells phenomenal. You get the tarragon, you do get some of the sage, you especially get sandalwood and cedar and tonka. There's definitely musk, but it's dialed back. It's like, it's light, it's slightly smoky because of the tobacco and the coumarin and the pepper and the cardamom. The iris, though, gives it this little freshy floral thing going on in the base, and it's just divine. I mean, it reminds me a lot, guys, it smells a lot like really, really expensive soap. And then if you added to that just some hints of like sandalwood, cedar, and just the ever so slightly hint of tobacco and tonka bean, you know, it's got that little juicy, creamy, floral, almost like an Irish Spring type thing, but don't think Irish Spring, but I'm just saying like that, those high dollar soaps or bath treatments, it's got that type of enveloping ambiance of just creamy, classic freshness, just smelling so good, so fragrant. This is, guys, this is Fougere done right at its finest, and I would even say before its time, because this was kind of a trailblazing scent. I don't think the market had ever quite seen something like D&G's Pour Homme back in '94. There may have been one or two that were somewhat in the vein, but nothing done quite this well. And it reminds me a lot of the House of Hermes in a way. It's in fact what I think they should be doing at Hermes. They should be doing slightly more well-rounded, fuller, multi-dimensional, multi-layered fragrances like what D&G has achieved with Pour Homme. And having said that, I love Terre d'Hermes. That's one of my all-time most favorite fragrances. I'm not at all trying to throw shade at the House of Hermes. They do a lot of things right, and Terre d'Hermes is an all-time classic, mega giant in my opinion. I may be doing a review on that here in the future. It's one of my favorite throwback scents. Still got it, still phenomenal. But guys, get your nose on this. Interesting thing I will point out, and I just found this on Base Notes as well. Let's see if I can find it again. I don't know how true this is currently, but back in the day, this is what this guy says. John Remy says, I compared the 3.4 ounce version of the 6.8. That's the big Bubba model, 200 mil, I believe. The 3.4 is made in the UK, and that jibes with these testers here. Where did it go? Is this yeah. These little testers, guys, are made in the UK. So that jives what Mr. Remy is saying, or Remy, about the 3.4 ounce. So if you, the 6.8, the Big Bubba model, is made in Italy. So if you just want to feel like, since you're buying D&G, you might as well get a real Italian frag, and you don't want to feel like you have something that was blended up in the UK. Not that, I mean, they do great, guys. I personally can't tell that this smells inauthentic or anything. I think it's going to smell identical to the made in Italy version. But having said that, if you want more peace of mind, then go ahead and get you the Big Bubba model, the 200 mil. That one is made in Italy, according to Mr. Remy. Now, I can't confirm that. I'm just telling you what this individual has said. But at any rate, that's going to wrap it up for this. This is so refined, so classy. It's masculine, but it's not it's not off a cliff. You know, it's just not just screaming, I'm a man, you know, smell me from 10 feet out. No, that's not what this is doing. This is something, honestly, that like I could see architects in Italy wearing, lawyers in Germany, you know, a chef in France, you know, gets off work or whatever, he wants to go have or maybe he's at work. Some high-level, you know, European politician. I mean, anybody from really nearly any walk of life can rock this scent. I would say, while it can be worn for a younger person, I do think you have to have a certain air of confidence and maturity to confidently rock this scent. If you're below the age of 25, let's say, 24, 25, unless you've just really had a hard life and you've been forced to like mature a lot faster, this is somewhat of a mature man scent. So I really can't see anyone below the age of 25 rocking this scent, and it would probably be more common around 27, 28 to really start getting into fragrances like this. It's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Don't sue me if I am. All I'm giving you guys is my honest God, heartfelt opinion. But this is so timeless and classy, guys. And again, you're not going to get great longevity. You're not going to get great projection. You're going to get about 2 to 3 hours of projection, and that's going to die down to mostly a skin scent. If you want to spray more, guys, you can get these bottles for fairly cheap online. I believe the 200 ml can be had online for around $58 on Fragrance Nut. I mean, what is that to be smelling this good Made in Italy, D&G, Pour Homme, the original. L'original. Get your nose on it, guys. Don't be sleeping on this. I know it's a classic. I know it's from the past. I know it's a throwback scent. I'll tell you right now, guys, this blows away at least 50% of the standard garden variety fragrances that are out right now. Right now, this absolutely trumps those head and shoulders for the most part. Maybe not in every category, mind you, but just in general, as a fantastic daily workhorse and just a classy. I could see James Bond wearing this when he gets tired of rocking Dunhill Icon. This would be his go-to backup workhorse. So get you some of this stuff, guys. It's fantastic juice, beautiful classic bottle, timeless presentation, timeless fragrance. Pick it up ASAP. So until next time, thanks for staying here this long, listening to me rant on about D&G's Pour Homme. Until next time, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Steven Sturgill. We'll catch you on the rebound. And you know what I like to end my videos with? Spray often, spray well. Make sure it smells great if you can. But rock what you want to rock ultimately. It's your body, it's your nose, it's your scent, it's your life. Peace.